Hello guys, welcome to Knowledge India once again. In this particular video, I'm going to talk to you about the very important topic, which is money, right? So, when we move to AWS or when we start using AWS, uh, of course, it is always sold that you pay only for what you use. But then, as we move forward, we figure out that sometimes we get unexpected bills. Sometimes we don't understand that what particular thing cost us money, right? So, in this particular video, what I'm gonna try is try and pick up those specific items where we normally make mistakes and we end up losing money. So I'll try to do two things. First, pick up those items, explain you that what precautions you should take and what all best practices you can follow so that you save money. And second one would be that I will do a quick demo of Amazon Calculator so that you understand that if you are trying to work for a proposal or trying to estimate the cost for your own workload, how do you go ahead and do it? And that would basically help you to to present it to somebody, to get approvals, to plan, and so on and so forth. So before we go ahead, if you are new to this channel, I would request you to subscribe. Please go ahead and look at our playlist. You will see that there are a lot of AWS related videos which are very practical and easy to understand. Try to take a look at some of them. If you find them interesting, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Please share it with your friends if you like. All right, so moving forward, here are a few things which I'm going to talk to you about. Now, the items which are written here, there are detailed videos if you want to learn that how do you want to go ahead and launch such thing and what about how to use those services. I have other videos on the channel. The channel is youtube.com/knowledgeindia. So in this particular video, I'm going to talk about the pricing aspect only. Okay, so first of all, NAT gateway and NAT instances. So I'm sure you remember from our video that for what purpose NAT gateways are used. Now the point is, when you create a VPC in with the during the creation of VPC, most of the items do not cost you. So VPC doesn't cost you, subnets don't cost you, route tables and all such things, security groups, network ACL. There's no cost for it. Those are more like logical stuff, right? But when it comes to NAT gateway or NAT instances, you need to pay for it. So earlier there was NAT instances, so it was just an EC2 instance from a customized AMI, and it was customer's responsibility to go ahead and manage that instance. So whatever instance size do you choose, and for that amount of time when it is up and running, you pay for it. So that was the case with NAT instance. But with NAT gateway, the responsibility is now taken up by Amazon, right? So you don't have to worry that your instance has gone down. You don't have to worry about the scalability of NAT at all. So that's NAT gateway. But how does the pricing of NAT gateway work? Uh, the pricing of NAT gateway depends on two factors: that for how much time the NAT gateway is up and running, and and second is the amount of data which has been processed by that NAT gateway. So it's not like you create a NAT gateway and then you can stop it. No, there's no stop option. When you create it, from that time the billing starts, and unless until you go ahead and terminate it or basically delete it, you continue to pay for it. So one suggestion here for NAT, maybe you may choose that for your prod environment you can go ahead and use NAT gateway, and you can have small NAT instances which could be part of your dev and test environment, right? So that way you can save a lot of money, at least in case of dev and test, because you can choose to switch off or turn off or shut down all your instances of dev and test environment. How can you do that? We have talked about it in the Lambda tutorial. You can go ahead and write a Lambda function which runs at a particular time on a day and just shuts down all your instances or all your required instances. Okay, moving on to the next one, which is the load balancers. So now there are so many different types of load balancers. You got classic ELB, you got application load balancer, network load balancer. Well, by the way, for the first two, there is a detailed tutorial on the channel where you can go ahead and see and how to set up. I got a request for network load balancer. I will bring it soon. Just please bear with me. So we are going to have our network load balancer very soon. So in case of load balancers as well, try to relate it same to NAT gateway, guys, right? So the way it works is, There is no start stop again. So when you create a load balancer, its billing starts at that time, right? And though from, in different load balancers, the pricing differs a bit, right? The way they have defined units and everything. But the point is, all the time, once you create your load balancer, its billing starts. That's how it is. And unless until you go ahead and terminate it, you are going to get charged for it. So it doesn't matter that some traffic is passing through load balancer or not. The point is, when the load balancer is there, there is some infrastructure which AWS is running inside that load balancer, right? There are few instances which are running inside, internal nodes which are running in that load balancer, and hence you get charged for it. So a good idea would be that for your prod scenario, of course, you can have your load balancers be there. I mean, it could be there all the time. In case of your dev and test, if you are really serious, and this could, this point could be really good in case of your interviews and or somebody who is trying to ask you questions. So it's like you may go ahead and for your dev test scenarios, you may choose that a new load balancer gets created every day in the morning and then gets terminated in the night. It's easy. So if you want to automate the full stuff, you can have your your complete environment, your dev environment written in a cloud formation template, and it just goes and gets executed, and basically you go and execute it every morning, and then at the end of the day you terminate it, right? That's how it works. So there could be few things which could be parameterized, of course, and it could be picked from somewhere. That can be done, but the point is uh, that load balancers will cost you, and hence see whenever you are creating every load balance. In case of dev test scenario, there are chances that you can go ahead and save money. All right, moving on to next one, which is your reservation, reserved instances, and scheduled reservation. So in case of EC2, uh, you people know about reserved instances, scheduled. There are many pricing models, at least in case of EC2. Oh my God, there are so many. So there is a detailed video which you can go ahead and look at. There I've explained all of them. But here is the important thing. Uh, at least in case of reserved ones, try to see that the workload which you are talking about, or the workload which you are considering, that workload, whether it is gonna run 24/7 mostly, and whether it is, you can go ahead and, I mean, whether you see that it will run 24/7 for a year roughly. If so, you can go ahead for 1 year reservation. Now there could be another scenario. There are places where we know that yes, uh, our instances are gonna run every day, right, for the full year, but then it is only for dev test scenario, so it is not going to run 24 hours every day, and in that case reserved instances would be not applicable. I mean, it would not be a good option to go with reserved. You can go with scheduled reservation, because you know that over a, only during a certain period you want the capacity to be available. So you can go for scheduled reservation. You can probably say like from morning 9 a.m. to evening 6 p.m. You every day you are reserving this particular capacity. That would serve for your dev environments or test environment. Maybe dev would be more suitable, I would say. So please take care of that. And many of the times people do not see that yeah, certain workloads are running for a long time, and there are chances of reservation and saving money. You have AWS Trusted Advisor, which is a very good service. So in your organization, in your account, you can go to AWS Trusted Advisor. What it does is it actually analyzes all your workloads running and the right candidates for reservation. It would find that, and it will show it to you that you can go ahead and do reservation. So take a look at it. All right. Uh, Moving on to databases, not only EC2, even in case of databases, you can go ahead and do reservation. So relational database service, RDS, does support reservation. So you can go ahead and reserve it for 1 year or 3 year term. You can do that. Now, important thing is uh, that in case of dev test scenarios, now it is possible that you can go ahead and even stop your RDS instance, which was not there earlier, right? So but you need to understand that it has to be single AZ instance, right? Single AZ RDS, not multi-AZ. Multi-AZ RDS, you cannot go ahead and stop. So please try and ensure that if, for your dev test scenarios or dev test environments, you go ahead and use single AZ RDS, and hence you can save money. Just write a script which stops the RDS instance every evening and starts it again next morning. None of your data is lost, but you saved for around 16 hours per day, right? So do that. And in case for your prod, go ahead and do the reservation so that you save somewhere from 20-30% compared to on demand instances. So that's about RDS thing. All right. Uh, Next is storage, the EBS volumes and the snapshot. This is one thing which costs a lot of money to many people because they are not aware of it. So guys, please understand that when you are creating an EC2 instance, you only pay for compute as part of EC2. For storage, you pay separately, for the EBS volumes. And all of us have already seen in other videos that how many types of EBS volumes are there, what are their properties, and so on and so forth. But the point is, there is a separate pricing for EC2 and there is a separate pricing for EBS, right? Now, you may go ahead and write a Lambda function which will stop your EC2 instance in the evening and will start it again in the morning. But then, because you have some data on the EBS volumes of those EC2 instances, even in the stopped state, right? Even the EC2 instances in the stopped state, even at that time, the EBS volume does have some data, right? And hence the storage is being consumed. So you will be charged for all those hours as well, right? So please understand that EBS volume, once you create an EBS volume, unless until you go ahead and delete that volume, you pay for the full duration, right? And sometimes people will have doubt that, okay, I've created a 500 GB volume. What if I just put 50 GB data on that? No, that doesn't matter. Whatever be the size of your EBS volume, you pay for that size. Doesn't matter how much you are storing on it, right? So here are two things to consider. The scenarios where um, um, it's like you are stopping your instances for a very long time, right? You may choose to actually create an image of the instance and then terminate the instance, right? Instead of stopping it, let's say, uh, think of an example that somebody said that they have some workload which runs 2 days per week. So there's no point that 2 days you are running an instance and after that you stop it for 5 days and then again you start it, right? So it's better you run it for 2 days, take an AMI, and then terminate the instance, right? So that way you stop paying for EC2, you stop paying for EBS as well, and you are paying only for the AMI, where the AMIs get stored on S3 and S3 storage is a lot cheaper than EBS volumes, right? So you should go ahead and do that. Okay. Also, you should sometimes look at the snapshots, EBS snapshots. Uh, Many of the times, during our practice or in our production scenarios as well, people just keep taking a lot of snapshots. That's good, for backup purpose. But then we need to have a strategy that how do we manage snapshots? We need to have a policy that anything which is, older than X number of days or whatever should be deleted, because snapshots also cause you money because it is getting stored on S3 and hence it does cost you money. So please have a strategy. Maybe you can write again a Lambda function, a simple Lambda function, which just takes a look at the snapshot creation date, and anything which is older than 30 days, for example, 30 days, just deletes those snapshots. And this particular Lambda function can run once in a day. That's it, and it keeps doing your cleanup. The cost of running would be nearly nil, right? But you get to save a lot. So please try to understand that how volumes pricing work and how does the snapshot pricing work, and try to save your money. Next one is around S3, our favorite S3, which is storing so much data of the whole web world currently, so many resources, because it's so damn cheap and reliable. People just go ahead and keep stuff on S3, keep their files on S3 and serve from there. So in case of S3, two things, right? One is of course the amount of storage which you are consuming, that people are generally aware, because yeah, how much storage I'm consuming, that's very obvious, that's good. But the other factor is data transfer. So in case of data transfer, the amount of data out which is happening from your S3 bucket, you get charged for it. So you need to plan, you need to see that what type of workload or what type of files are you keeping on S3, and in what manners are they getting consumed. If you have a lot of files which are there on S3 and they are being consumed by EC2 instance in order to process them, then the data transfer from S3 to EC2 is free, provided both of them are there in the same region, right? It's free. But let's say you are keeping your image files or some video files or PPTs or this doc files, and you are serving it out to public, via your website probably. So in that case, the data out is happening from S3 to internet. In that case, there is a charge. And you need to see how much is that coming, how can you go ahead and maybe implement caching in your application and at other places so that the amount of data out happening from your S3 gets reduced. So those are two things which you should take care. And of course, you may go ahead and apply lifecycle policies in case of S3 as well, which can go ahead and automatically delete your files which are older than a certain duration, right? You can may go ahead and specify any file which is older than 365 days, delete that file. So it would do that automatically. All right, that will save money for you. Okay, next is services which maintain resources. Now, have you done auto scaling already? If not, please go ahead and try it. It's good stuff. There is a video which is there on the channel which explains you how to set up auto scaling. I have to yet put for Beanstalk and Opsworks. I'll do that. But the point is, see, all these three things which you are seeing, as such, Elastic Beanstalk is free, Opsworks service is free, auto scaling is free, because these are more logical stuff. But what they do is at the back end, they launch resources, right? They create EC2 for you, they create other things for you, right? So these resources which get created by these services, if now you go ahead and let's say auto scaling has launched 4 instances, you just go ahead and terminate those 4 instances from EC2 console, and you think, yeah, okay, I've just I've deleted these instances. No, auto scaling will go ahead and kind of launch it again because it has to maintain 4 instances always. Same is the case with Beanstalk Opsworks as well. So you need to understand that with such services, if the resources got created by these services, the right method would be you go to these services and delete them. So if my auto scaling group has created 4 instances, the right method would be I should go to auto scaling group and delete that auto scaling group, which will automatically in turn delete the 4 instances or terminate the 4 instances. So please keep that in mind, or else you might think that yes, I have deleted it, but the resources are still there and causing you money. Okay, last one here on the list is elastic IPs. Do you remember how does the pricing of elastic IP work? So it's like when you basically allocate an elastic IP, right? Or basically you take an elastic IP from AWS. If it is attached to a running EC2 instance, there's no charge for it, right? But if you go ahead and attach it to a stopped instance, or if you don't attach it to any instance, you get charged for it. So please keep that in mind, right? Trusted advisor also alerts you on this. So try to use elastic IPs judiciously. Yeah. So if you try to think, and if you're doing in right manner, actually you would not use elastic IPs a lot. Maybe you will use one at the NAT gateway because that's mandatory. Sometimes if you want to use let's say on an instance, if you have a website running on a single instance and you want one of your domains to point at it, then you may go ahead and use it. There might be few more use cases, but other than that, try to see that in your architecture you don't depend on IPs. It is better to depend on DNS names as such, right? So that's a better method. All right, so I hope this video gave you some sense. You understood that how does the pricing work. Now I want to take a few minutes quickly and show you a quick demo on Amazon S3 calculator. All right, so this is the link. You can just go ahead and Google AWS calculator, right? And you will get it. Now in this particular calculator, as you can see on the left hand side, you have different AWS services which you have heard of, right? And here you get to see all the different regions. Superb. So you can go ahead and choose for a particular service and a particular region, and you go ahead and add resources, and you will get an estimate of your bill in this particular tab, right? So let me quickly show you a few examples, and so that it will help you. This is really helpful if you are preparing any RFP response, guys, trust me. So let's just see a few things. Some of you would have done this. So if I'm creating an EC2 instance, let's say I want to go with it takes some time to load. Now it should come, yeah. So let's say I want to go with RHEL, Red Hat Enterprise Linux. I can go ahead and let's say choose M5 4x large instance is what I want. Okay. Now, if you see, I can write some description. I'm leaving that. How much is the utilization? You can specify in hours per day, hours per week, month, or percentage utilization per month. If you are taking 100% utilization, considering that it will run for 24/7, all the 31 days, 31 days, then what we can do is we can see that in case of on demand, it is going to cost me $657 per month. Um, Let me go ahead and try to, if I click on this thing, I can go ahead and change the billing option. I can say instead of on demand, what if I take it on 1 year all upfront reserved, right? If I say this, then my monthly cost becomes zero because I'm saying all upfront. So monthly cost will become zero, and rather I will pay just a one-time fee. So if you based on the support plan, you can change this as well. Just to keep it simple, I'm going to make it basic. All right, so this became zero. Now let's expand the EC2 thing. So you can see that for monthly on compute, I'm going to pay zero. And for one-time fee, because it is all upfront, so in order to reserve one time, it is going to be $5150, right? So of course, saving of money, but you need to really think that whether it is the right candidate to reserve. So let's just see this as an example. So 5150 is for 1 year all upfront. Of course, if you are using your instance for 24/7 into 31 days, then it makes sense to go ahead and reserve, because if you see, if we go ahead and make it on demand quickly, it is 657, right? So 657 into 12 is going to be 7884. Wow, a lot of money. But think of other case. Let's say I am going to use hours per day, and I'm going to use it, let's say 9 hours during office hours. Let's say this is for dev environment, right? So in that case, if I do 9 hours per day, or even better, let's do this, weeks per day. So I can do 5 9 of 45. So I can go ahead and specify, let's say 45 hours per week, right? So like this. So this would be a better stuff. So 5 working days, 9 hours per day, so 45 hours per week. It is going to cost me only $174. So if now I do a calculation, I say 174 into 12, it is going to cost me only $2,000, right? So for dev test scenario, it would not make sense at all to go ahead and reserve, right? Just giving you an idea. So you can play like this. At the bottom, you also have a separate one for EBS volumes. So if you want to go ahead and specify the general purpose SSD, I'm going to give it like 100 GB. You will get to see that how much is the pricing, right? So for EBS volume, there's no reservation or anything. You just pay per month. And this is with the consideration that you are gonna, this is going to get used for the full 30 days of the month. So this would be your bill, $10. So that was how you basically go ahead and use calculator. There are more things, so you can go ahead and here I showed you reservation. In case of RDS, if you go at the bottom, you have reservation option. You can go ahead and choose in the way you like. So go ahead and play around with this. I hope this video would have helped you with few things in terms of saving money and some of the practical scenarios which would be helpful in your day-to-day work. Well, if you like this, I would request you please share it with your friends. Let them also know about it. Uh, look at the description. Visit our channel. Look at the description. We have a detailed playlist for solution architect and SysOps track if you are interested. And there are a lot of practical AWS videos as well. So with that, I would end this. Please keep sharing. Thank you. Bye bye.